Hi, this is Damon Pistolka, host of The Faces of Business, where I talk with interesting people, sharing life and business experiences to entertain, engage, build community, and provide information to help others succeed. If you're interested in learning more about one of our guests or how we are helping business owners generate wealth and build businesses they can sell or succeed at Exit Your Way, you can find more information on our website, exityourway.com, or by contacting me directly, Damon at exityourway.com. I hope you enjoy the show. All right, everyone. Welcome once again to the Faces of Business. I am your host, Damon Pistolka, and I am excited for our guest today because we're going to be talking about using AI to share your knowledge with the world. I've got Jay Pandya here today. Thanks so much for being here today, Jay.
Thanks for having me, Damon. Just really looking forward to a conversation.
Yeah. This is cool because we are everything. I don't think you can pick up a publication, look at a web page, anything without seeing AI on it today. And it's going to be great to talk with you about it because your experience coming from the IT world and really understanding that rolling into AI, I'm sure you're going to have some great insights.
Thank you. Yes, it's been a fascinating journey over the last few years.
Well, that's great. And we always like to start out to learn a little about your background and how you got into what you're doing today. And ultimately, then we'll talk about how you're using AI to share people's knowledge with the world.
Yeah, definitely. So where do I start, right? So my background, when I finished school, my dad was a doctor. Uh, you know, he used to run a private hospital back in India. And, when you have a good marks, family is doctors, what do? You end up in medicine. That's what I did. I did, entered into medicine and graduated with medical degree. And then there was, personal development has always been the thing that's always been important to me. And through some personal development programs, I learned in early 20s that medicine is not my thing. It's not what I really wanted to do. I just ended up being there because, hey, that's what the family wanted, and
Yep.
culture, that's what you do. And then I had an opportunity to actually examine what do I really want. And the tech was not the answer, but the answer was, I want to make a difference at a bigger scale. Not,
Mm-hmm.
working with patients one-to-one was boring. And so just, how do I make a difference at a bigger scale? And we are talking late 90s. And computers and internet was emerging. I remember the whole, signing up for Hotmail when Hotmail was new in 1995, all that time, right? And
Yeah.
and that was a time I got interested into tech, learning. There was no serious career consideration at that time. Um, and working in a hospital, at nighttime, working in the tech during the daytime. Uh, the general manager of the hospital found out that I tinker with computers during the daytime. So at 2 a.m. at night, once he asked me, would you manage this project for the administration system we are developing that's going nowhere, right? And be an interface. And that was kind of my first entry into the proper tech world. I got a job that paid me more than being a doctor as a registrar. And 9 to 5, during the day. And I was waiting for my postgraduate admission in neurosurgery. It was like, because I didn't make it the first time. And I started that and then really loved it and never looked back. And to get a formal career, came to Australia, did my master's in information systems, did my MBA, and that was that. That's how it started, and that's how I transitioned from medicine to tech and business.
Yeah. So I've got to ask, are your parents
Yeah.
okay that you didn't become a doctor?
Oh, they're very okay now. At that
Good.
time, At that time, he wasn't. Dad especially wasn't. It was an interesting conversation to say, "Hey, I'm not coming to the hospital to run the hospital now. I'm gonna work in tech." And it was strange, but some other
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I can imagine, I could just see that. Oh, I'm my prodigy. It's all going to go through. And then you're like, oh, no, I'm not
Yes,
going to.
yes, yes, yes,
Uh, well, that's awesome. And so coming into the IT tech space, you know, that itself from that time, the early 2000s on, I mean, we've seen so many different things that have happened
yes,
in and out, and really the advent of the internet and all that brought through those times. So comparing today, I know most people, when we think AI, are thinking Chat GPT.
yes,
Let's
yeah,
talk pre what people now think AI is, and really kind of compare that into what we're seeing today a little bit more. Because when I talk about pre AI, what we think of Chat GPT, there was a lot of, I don't even know if I'm using the right words, but there are a lot of models that did a lot of artificial intelligence work already.
yes,
So
yes.
you able to be involved in any of that work prior to the GPT kind of stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. I have been involved in AI machine learning since 2011, 12. You know,
Oh yeah.
got serious in 2013, 14 onwards. Um, and I think OpenAI and ChatGPT brought the AI to mainstream, like commodity. Everyone knows, and interacting with ChatGPT, is like, yeah, I know AI. You know, there's so much, it's like a tip of an iceberg, right? There's so much more that goes
Yeah.
behind. So I've been involved with it up at least 10, 11 years in a more serious capacity.
Yeah.
And
What are some of it's interesting that you say that. So right now we look at it. You said the like kind of like the tip of the iceberg that we see. I can type something in and it gives me an answer, right? What are
yes,
some of the real tech hurdles that people saw in the early days that we had to overcome to get even where we're at today?
yeah, I think it's a great question. I'll tell you my own hurdles, right, in AI, and some of the and then the common hurdles that AI is not new. It's been around for 60 years. Okay, it's just the form and shape and interaction level and interaction medium, interface is what's evolved, and then of course how it works. Um, the biggest hurdle, was the computing power,
Yeah.
right? One of the biggest hurdle was the computing power, the amount of computational capabilities that you require, and it needed evolution and the commoditization of the computing power through cloud technologies like Amazon Cloud and Microsoft Azure and Google Cloud. These are the three cloud behemoths, giants.
Yeah.
They have made the computing power so accessible. Servers and the processing power that used to take millions of dollars to even set up before you even get in the game, right? It's like you want to play the game, you have to build your own stadium.
Yeah. Yeah.
It used to be before you even get to play the first ball, whether you do baseball or whether you do a
Yeah.
cricket or anything, before you kick the first ball, you have to build your own stadium. And that itself used to be a big barrier.
Yeah.
Infrastructure, computing infrastructure, right? And now you sign up for a free account, put a $50, $20. Now ChatGPT is free, but actually, if you want to build your own AI models and AI solutions, you can start with $50 or $100. Um,
Wow.
because of the computational power and the capabilities that's been provided through the cloud infrastructure, right? So that used to be some significant barrier. I'm talking, 2011 before, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the cloud has penetrated the business world and academics, and it's make a major shift, right? The second one was the data, access to data. Machine learning is not new. However, uh, machine learning, to teach the machine, you need so much data processing, and there's a lot of manual data engineering work that goes into turning data into an insight that AI models can consume,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
And that pathway, that process has evolved a lot. Now, this is where it gets technical, and I probably wouldn't go too technical here for the audience and anyone listening. But um, if you don't have the data, your machine learning models are useless.
Yep.
Okay, the most cutting edge AI technology and cutting edge machine learning models that maybe OpenAI or Microsoft or Google, anyone might have, without the right kind of data and access to the right kind of data, it's useless,
Yeah.
right? Models will just not learn, so to speak.
Yes.
Right? So that was always the second, barrier. And the companies like OpenAI or Google or Facebook, and they have access to the kind of data that people like you and I cannot even imagine.
Yes.
It's enormous level of access to people's data that is just unimaginable for a normal person.
Yeah.
When it comes to consumer and the life of people, as well as businesses.
Mm-hmm.
uh, and so computational power plus access to data to train the machine learning, those two factors has seen the biggest transformation in the last 10 years. And now what we see is the OpenAI as a output and outcome of that probably 60-70 years journey before.
Yeah. Yeah. So as you're looking into it, this is great because we're getting into, really, like you talked about, early machine learning, the limitations, and just as you said, first of all, access to the data, because if we're talking, even if we look back 20 years, so that's 2004, the internet didn't have nearly as much data available on it as it does today if we just look at that source of data. But then when you look at this, all the other websites have been created with all the other information that's been loaded and put online and everything, even if we had the technology to do what we wanted to do, the data set is so much more complete now. And Google's had time to search, like you said, all the scary stuff about us that everybody doesn't want to think that they collect, but they collect. And
Yes.
and now bringing this together into something in the more of like an open AI format, where these things that are really pretty magical, if you go back 20 years, happen
Oh,
almost matter of factly now.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's the convergence of technologies, right? Just so, when we say internet, it's the you need to have mobile, and a penetration of mobile. You need to have the fast internet. You need to have cloud technologies evolved, because we used to have internet before the cloud, right? However, the servers used to be so fragmented, right, on an individual website hosting servers, right, versus cloud environment, very different now, right? So
Yeah.
it's the evolution of mobile penetration, so you can actually get the location technology, location related data, behavioral data, how people interact with it, the cloud technologies, the speed of the internet, all of things, from going from GPRS in 1990s to 3G to 4G, and now 5G, and now they're talking about 6G and 7G, like that kind of, all of that had to come together for AI breakthrough to occur.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without one, it wouldn't have occurred. Like, it's not one factor that contributes to it. It's a convergence of multiple technologies coming together that allowed and enabled what we now experience and see and use as a magical experience of ChatGPT.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is cool. That's a great way to explain it, because without any of those pieces, it doesn't work.
Yeah, it just wouldn't have the fuel. The data is the fuel. And you can have a Ferrari, go and buy a Ferrari or Maserati or whatever and it sits in the garage if you don't put the petrol in it, right? So
Yes.
data is the petrol of the most cutting edge AI technologies, and the accumulation of the data, accessibility of the data, and transforming it and turning it into form that AI models can use is what most people don't see or realize in the mainstream masses. But that's been the real breakthrough here, rather
Yeah.
than the AI model itself.
Yeah, that's for sure. That convergence of technology, like you said, with the speed of the internet, the mobile, and the data, and that you're just getting from all that, and then
Yes.
the cloud technology.
Yeah.
So we talked about this a little bit before we got on, but as an AI professional yourself,
Yeah.
how do you keep up with the changes? Because it seems like what was done on Monday is old news by Wednesday.
Yes. I think it's a very simple answer. It's just a lot of reading, a lot of experimenting, and a lot of just doing, figuring things out, a lot of failing as well. Uh, as I said, uh, I've been in this space more seriously, not just tinkering with it on edges for last 10, 11 years. And uh, it just, it required a lot of failing at it, experimenting, playing with it, uh, committing time, resources, money, all of it to learn and figure things out, right? And I'll give you an example. Um, I touched on the personal development earlier,
Yeah.
right? And I'm big on personal development. I truly believe that the education that uh, schools and universities provide is grossly insufficient. I have experienced that. I've spent a lot of years at uni, right? First in medicine and then masters, two different masters. And, I've spent a lot of years and I have a high regard for the contribution of academic education. But then what I got from a personal development, doing courses and seminars and coaching and training and development of that way gave me the life I have, right? Uh, and 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 that's what I call a non-traditional education. I used to dream about um, how do I make that non-traditional education accessible to the world, um, right? And that's where the AI comes in. I used to dream about, well, let's take any of those personal development leaders. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to mention any specific names, but I have to give an examples. Like talk about Tony Robbins or Landmark, or there are several programs of that nature,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and uh, I would dream about, well, there's so much that I learned from interacting with coaches and experts, and who has got this wisdom, right? Not just the knowledge and information, but the real wisdom. Um, we got to train AI so that people can have access to it in a commoditized manner.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example, right? And I'm answering your question, but in a little bit longer
Oh,
way.
yeah. This is awesome.
So I used to lead seminars, because of the difference that personal development made in my life, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
my career, that itself was a breakthrough to leave medicine and get into this tech, to move from India to Australia. All of that
Mm-hmm.
itself occurred as impossible. People would go, that's magical. That doesn't happen. That never happens. How can we have a doctor doing tech and now running a business? It's just boggles people's mind, right? Still does. and
Yeah.
and then my relationship with my wife, and the life that I built, like all of that, when someone looks at it as a chronology, it's like, wow, that's kind of crazy. That doesn't It's not normal. That's what people see. And I give a lot of credit to that through the personal development that I had, right? And so I was into it, and I wanted to contribute that to people. So I used to lead seminars and programs as a hobby on the
Yeah.
side, outside of the main business and the main career. And I would wonder, there were about 200, 300 people in front of me every week. I would coach them, life coaching, transformational coaching, whatever you call it, right? And it would give me that element of satisfaction. There is this
Mm-hmm.
family, there is career, there is money, and then there is the satisfaction, contributing to people. And that gave me that fulfillment and satisfaction that otherwise no amount of money or accomplishments would have given me, right? And I would kind of wonder, how can digital technologies be used to really scale this?
Yeah.
I have finite number of hours to contribute to people's lives. I go to sleep, I go to eat, I got family, I go to earn money and have take care of my job and business and all that. And I got now 2-3 hours left that I'm using every day to contribute to people. And then maybe 200 people in a week, fine. But that 200 never became, it took me 11 years to lead. I led about 20,000 people, right, in the seminars.
Yeah.
What I did, what we do was enormously valuable to people. It transformed lives, and there are 8 billion people on the planet. And every human being should have that kind of education, non-traditional learning, not university, school kind of, but that wisdom that really makes a awesome difference in someone's lives,
Yeah.
relationships, confidence, communications, just the human that they are, right? We have war going on, people being righteous, fighting with each other. I'm right, you are wrong. And now we have a war in our hand. We
Yeah.
start from kitchens and bedrooms to our communities to the world, right? It's really,
Mm-hmm.
boil it down, it's I'm right, you are wrong. And now we have a war. It's just different perspectives. And I used to kind of wonder, how do you really change the world?
Mm-hmm.
Change the world if I talk to 200 people about it every week. That's just grossly insufficient. Even if I do it full time for the rest of my life, i'm not
Yeah.
gonna i'm not gonna reach to more than 100, 200,000 people that way,
Yeah.
right? And I'm gonna be dead. And how do I make the best use of everything I know and everything I have to go to contribute to touch as many people as I can, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the AI comes in. And I would go, well, if we trained machine learning models and created an AI avatar. This is 2011-12 that I used to dream about, right? And then give it everything, the knowledge, the wisdom, the distinctions that allows for the breakthrough results in communication and personal productivity, in relationships, in business, right? In trust, in just being a good human with integrity, right? And being willing to give up being right, just in the interest of relationships working, right? What's more
Yeah.
important, relationship or being right? Which game is more important, right? I used to talk about that and go, if we can train an AI, then we can have a 24/7 AI agent, AI avatar interacting with people on social media, on websites, on mobile apps, and then there is no ceiling and my time limit of the difference I can contribute. It's not going to be me, but hey, it can be 80% of me, and that's going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so I started working on that, as I say, 2011, 12, 13, right, in that time. And people would call me crazy. Like, just there was no other word, right?
Yeah.
um, and I kind of translated that into business as a vision to go, hey, you know imagine you are a coach, you're a business coach, you are a life coach, you are an executive coach, you are a relationship coach, you are a organizational development consultant
Mm-hmm.
in companies. You somewhere in your job you are training, developing people, right, where the
Yep.
knowledge plus experience and insights are critical. It's not just knowledge, you can't just pass it,
Yeah.
right? Um, what if that job could get done 24/7 without you being there? And if it's 80% right, the time you spend, that 20% is optimized to more premium behavioral interactions rather than informational exchange, because informational exchange can be transferred and taken care of by the AI.
Yes.
Whereas the behavioral, the human element, which requires heart and a soul, is where you should spend your time on, which is the 20% time you might spend. But hey, the knowledge, the information, the repetition, is the podcast, uh, articles, blog posts, all of that is a type of data.
Yeah.
And you can take that data and train AI into it. And then the one-on-one conversation that requires heart and soul, that's probably the 20% that you enjoy the most. And I spoke from a personal experience,
Yeah.
right? So that should become, if you think about sales funnel, that behavioral transformational conversation can become at the bottom of the funnel,
Yes.
right? Why? And the digital technologies can take care of the 80%. And now instead of charging $10,000 for a weekend program, right, where 80%, 90% is information,
Mm-hmm.
uh, make it commodity and make it $2 a month subscription. Millions and billions of people can use it at $1, $2, and even free. Um, and then that creates the brand awareness, that creates the audience, and then the right people will flow through to you for
Mm-hmm.
that important premium transformational interaction. And instead of charging $10,000 to 300 people for a weekend, you can now move into personalized, premium services for what you do,
Yeah.
right? And that's what I used to dream about, and I said I'll build a business from there. People don't see what I'm talking about, thinking about, and connecting that with the whole AI piece, Damon. uh, when I went to, because hey, I was a startup when I started this, ultimately formed as a company in 2017 and 18. And I went to Google and Amazon because hey, I was a startup and I was not funded. Said, hey, I want to crack this puzzle to train my AI avatar to scale me.
Yeah.
And first they laughed. Second, when they actually got it, I'm talking Google AI Labs in London, the Deep Mind, right, in London. Um, they said, well, if this problem is yet to be solved, if you solve it, we'll buy you. That's when I knew I'm onto something.
Yes. Yeah.
I needed, but again, infrastructure. I needed a $5 million of cloud capabilities to even play the game,
Yep.
right? And I was looking for the solutions and yada yada yada. And that's where we started the whole Zingify Master Dojo journey. But the whole vision, and what's the problem we're solving? It started with, how do I make the biggest difference? There are 200 people in front of me every week. How do I take it to 20,000 and 200,000 and 2 million to 200 million? There's so much difference to be made. People are being righteous instead of having harmonious relationship. We end up with divorce and war. How do we do that? That quest, that problem solving led me to building a business, an AI company.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I just want to say I truly enjoy you talking about personal development because for me, I believe that is how people achieve their ultimate dreams. I mean,
Yeah,
they're just if you do not devote yourself to personal development, personally,
yeah,
and feel how that changes your world and feel how that changes your relationships. You probably aren't some people listen to this aren't understanding what you're saying, Jay, but it is life changing when you really get into personal development and do this. And
yes,
then once you see that, I love hearing how you're saying, I need to spread this with the world because it is such a big deal.
yes,
That's awesome. And it's great to hear how you did that. And you learned it by putting in the reps. You were doing this week in and week out, helping people do
yeah,
this.
yeah,
And the convergence, like you talked about, the convergence of technology that allowed us to do technology, the convergence of your desire to teach other people personal development, you putting in the reps, and the advancement of other AI technologies now. It's really cool to see how those things have combined to allow you to do what you're doing in Zingify now.
Yes,
Let's talk
yes.
about that, because this is really something. Now that you've explained what you're talking about with the avatar doing 80% and the 20% being taken care of by the human, what was your explain Zingify then, or what, how this
Yeah.
relates, because this is really a cool story.
So again, the desire, the want, the need to make difference, at scale,
Yeah.
led me to, first the company was called Master Dojo. We still have the website on, right? It was called Master Dojo. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, we'll do the marketplace app, right? Like Uber for coaching, training, and development, right? And we did that in Australia, and that business model did not work. We built the tech, we built the marketplace platform, and it didn't work from a business perspective, right? In spite of everything that coaches and people wanted, it just didn't get the traction.
Yeah.
Uh, and then we had the feedback as a startup. You listen to your customers, right? You kind of, what's going on, and why is it not getting a traction? And um, I want my own brand. I want my own brand, my own, my customers. That's the key feedback that we got from a coaches, training, development companies that we were, working with as an initial niche.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we had about 60 customers in about 7 countries, 60 coaches and training development companies, 20,000 users. It just did not take off the
Mm-hmm.
way I wanted it to. And then when we heard from the customers saying, everything you've done is great, we love all of it, but I want my own brand and I want my own self, for in front of my audience, not everybody else who can also be my competitors.
Yeah.
Right. And that's when, and then we got some customers in US. That was biggest traction for us. So we moved the company, the new brand in US as Zingify Inc. And instead of a marketplace as a business model, we went your personalized brand, right? Like a mobile apps branded for you, done for you, all of that. And that part of the business took off, got traction, significant revenues and the growth. And I was like, okay, that seems to be working, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and the biggest shift that we made was, initially we built the platform. Again, remember, I wanted to solve the problem of data,
Yes.
right? Problem of data. I could not create my own AI avatar, right, to work for people 24/7 and coach and develop and train people 24/7, unless I transformed my knowledge, experience, and insights into data.
Yes.
Content, recorded content, blogs, audio, video recordings, I couldn't do it, right? So we built a platform to host your online courses, online content, pre-recorded videos, audios, documents, publish it as an online course, right? You're hosting an event, seminars, you publish it. It's a single platform in a footprint. If you look at a coaching, training, development, HR as a business, the footprint, the data was distributed across 10 to 14 different platforms.
Yes.
For events, you have Eventbrite. For
Yep.
stream, you have StreamYard, right? Social media and communities and groups engagement. People do it on Facebook groups, WhatsApp groups, LinkedIn groups.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have a CRM. For online courses, people would use Kajabi. And when you look at it, it's like 10 to 15 different pieces of software people would use. And so we started building a platform called All of That in One Place, right? To make the business operations easier and more streamlined for that niche,
Mm-hmm.
for coaches, training, development companies, seminar companies. More importantly, the underlying intent was get all that data that is fragmented in 14 systems into one platform.
Yeah.
Once you have all the data into a single platform, we can now train machine learning algorithms to actually become you, essentially, right? And then we started the journey in 2017 and 18. First version was Master Dojo. It evolved to become a Zingify with the market feedback. And now we have had a breakthrough. right? And then the breakthrough was, well, we had a number of people who actually used our platform. Uh, all that data exists on the platform, and the simultaneously, parallelism, right? Parallelism is
Yeah.
beautiful thing. This convergence of technologies. Now the AI, the generative AI models are open source.
Mm-hmm.
5 years ago, I needed $5 million to even play the game. That amount, instead of $5 million, became ridiculously low,
Yes.
and so very accessible for any startup,
Mm-hmm.
um, or anyone wanting to solve a problem, right? And so we did that. We jumped on it. We took the open source models, and we had all the data through our platform, right, for coaching, training, development companies. And using that data, we would train the machine learning models. And then the further advance in the technology is interactive avatar, right? So people currently produce, AI to produce videos,
Yeah.
right? You can produce, deep fake, right? You see Donald Trump and Joe Biden's videos coming out that they're saying things that they never said,
Yeah.
because it's not real. It's the AI, it's a video production, right? But now we are moving to what's called AI avatar or AI agent that actually talks to you. So
Yeah.
we worked on through a platform that people can use in their business, online courses, community, events, referrals, testimonials. All of that is a form of data,
Yes.
right? Interaction with clients, and then use that data to train the AI avatar, to speak to the prospect, to speak to the clients. And the key thing is interactive manner.
Yes.
So, that's what we started working on. Now we had solved the problem of data. We solved the problem of computational technologies and computational power, right? And now we are so close to launching what's called interactive avatar. So I can take all your recordings, your knowledge, insights, experience embedded in your data, your blog post, your books, your articles, your
Mm-hmm.
audio video recordings, train the AI model exclusively for you, okay, and launch an interactive avatar on social media, on your website, on a mobile app that is branded for you, and people can interact with Damon, and
Yeah.
it looks and sounds and feels like Damon, right? Or looks and sounds and feels like Jai. It's not Jai, it's Jai's AI avatar that practically does a better job than I can do. 80-90% of the questions and answers
Yeah.
my avatar can provide. That frees up my time, and that's true for any business owners,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
that's what we are doing at Zingify AI. And many people would ask me, um, well, I can do that in ChatGPT. How is it different from ChatGPT? I can upload my files, I can create a custom GPT, upload my files and upload my knowledge, and now custom GPT will allow me to, do what you're talking about. Except there are two differences that I highlight for people, right? When someone goes, compare what I'm talking about with
Yeah.
custom GPTs. Number one is when you upload a file to ChatGPT, OpenAI got it,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And if your business is built on your intellectual property, you want to protect it, because the moment OpenAI and ChatGPT is trained in your intellectual property, you are redundant. Your customers don't need to come to you.
Yeah.
If you're a knowledge professional, engage in a training, coaching, development business, okay, and if that knowledge got into ChatGPT models, customers don't need to pay you what they currently pay you.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's the first thing. So your intellectual property protection is a critical thing, right? So at Zingify, we make sure that your data is actually protected exclusively for you in your own environment, under your own ownership, without any compromise of intellectual property. That's the first thing. And the second thing is experience, right? Interaction experience. So you see the ChatGPT has started with a chatbot. You type, and it responds, and people love that. And now it's moved to conversationals, right? So voice UI, right? Voice user interface.
Yep.
And that's that right now. We don't know what's coming, but that's that. But now transform that's your voice, your face, your lip movement, your eyes, your facial expressions, your hand. Like I talk with my hands. A lot of people say, Jay, you talk with your hands, right? I move my hands a lot. Put that on. Now it's your brand. Now it's you, and it's interactive, and it stops, and people respond. You literally don't need to hire a next salesperson. You don't need to hire the next coach. You don't need to hire the next employee, because this interactive avatar, if you have to pay someone $80,000 a year to be the next business development manager, well, instead of hiring 10, maybe you need one. And your AI avatar, work 24/7 across internet, on social medias, on websites, on apps. That's what we are now doing. That's the evolution of where we started and where we have landed now.
That's incredible. That's incredible. And like you said, it really is you, because
Yes,
it's based off of your mannerisms, the things that you've experienced and written about or talked about and were given a data on. And the one thing that you did bring up that's real important, I think, is IP protection. And that is true. A lot of people don't realize that if you upload it, it's there in Chat GPT, and
exactly.
and they're using it. So that's one of the things. But so what are some of the breakthroughs that are really exciting to you that you see just on the horizon that are not here yet, but that are going to make this thing like, next level?
I love that question. David. It is such a critical question. I think the next level of breakthrough is AI agent. So what do I mean by AI agent, right? Right now, if you look at your experience of interacting with digital technologies, right? You want to look at Facebook, you have to go on Facebook. Then you go on Instagram, or you go on LinkedIn, or you look at your CRM, and then you have your email app, and you have your Dropbox document or Google Drive document or Microsoft. So you have these different digital platforms doing different things and serving you, and you use them in different way.
Yeah.
If you look at someone's phone, you look at your phone, you probably have 70, 80 apps on an average phone.
Yeah.
I think the next level of breakthrough that's coming, it's not there, but it's quite close, is a single AI agent that you interact to, and it will interact with all these apps on your behalf and will get the job done.
Whew.
Yeah. So
continue on.
So translate that into, I got to take my son to his basketball match tomorrow. Okay. I have an email from his friend's mom saying, hey, can you pick up two of them, take them to the basketball match? I can't take them. And then you can leave, and I'll pick up both of them, and drop them off. Can we do that? Now, that email sits in my email client. Okay, the occasion does not exist in my calendar. Okay, so that I got to go and leave early to pick up my son's friend. What exists in my calendar is basketball match, leave at this time to get to the match on time. Now, but those two sets of information exist in two different apps. One is a calendar app, right? And then one is what's an email. By the way, how did it end up in my calendar? Because, hey, I don't take my son to basketball match. My wife does.
Yes.
He doesn't drive yet. So she put the calendar appointment in my calendar just to make sure that I don't forget. Right? Now, there's some knowledge that she has in her email where she found out from his basketball coach and the school that said, hey, the match is on this time. Okay. So now you can see how information flows.
Yeah.
where we are moving to now is I just got to go, hey, like, how we go, hey Siri, or hey Siri has been pretty dumb so far.
Yeah.
It's about to get smart. uh,
Hopefully. Oh man,
ho-
it's
Hopefully, but again, there's a whole lot of data privacy
yeah.
issues in that space. But putting that aside, um, AI agent will practically recognize, if I just say, hey, I got to take, AI agent will prompt me that, hey, there is an email request uh, from my son's friend's mom, asking me to see if I can pick up. Would you like to pick him up and take him? Are you okay with that? And I just have to say, yes, I got no problem. And then it will schedule an occasion and it will remind me. I don't need to interact with 3 apps. My wife does not have to nag me. Hey, do you remember? Do you remember? I put it in your calendar.
Yeah.
All that does not need to happen because the AI agent who is interacting, looking at my 60 or 70 apps data ecosystem, is in consolidating all the different data on my
Mm-hmm.
phone
On your phone, yeah.
with my permission,
Yep.
with my consent, okay, and hopefully protects my intellectual property. That's what I hope, right? Um, but that's what we are moving on to.
Yeah.
So instead of the era of 60 apps on your phone to do different things, one thing, we imagine your iPhone, or this may not even be iPhone, it's just one thing, AI agent that
Yeah.
takes care of your, it's like a personal concierge that takes care of your everything that you have to do to live your life.
Yeah, yeah, that would be that'll be incredible as we see that unfolding, because there are so many things. I mean, you just think about how many different apps you use, and anymore. This is one of the things that is just drives a ton of people crazy. Password management,
Ah,
two-factor authentication, all these kind
exactly.
of things that drives people crazy every single day when you're in and out of apps, and the
Yes.
things that you have to do that an agent like that could really help you with. And as long as, like you said, it was secure and all that, it'd just be a wonderful thing. Because
Yeah.
how much time do we waste just by doing those little things where, oh, I got to do my two-factor authentication to get in here, or I got to go to this app, then that app, then that app, or even on a computer, even it would just so much stuff. That's cool. So
Yeah.
cool.
So, it's like right now AI is on every app. That's what all the app developers and everyone's
Yep.
trying to get it AI. But then we are looking at the future of one AI interacting with 60 AIs on your behalf. So you
Yeah.
don't have to interact with 50 or 60 AI.
Yeah.
Uh, you're interacting with one that's hopefully your personal AI concierge that deals with the world.
Yes. That's
And
awesome.
that's what I think. It's a decade of, between 2024 to next 10 years, it's a decade of AI agents interacting with each other on our behalf, getting the job done for what we need to get job done. And while it's exciting, it's also got so much implications for business and how we
Yes.
live our life, for marketing and
Oh,
everything that we talk about, right? Marketing, sales, delivery, operations, entire value chain in a business. Every touch point of a customer,
mm-hmm.
everything you do in a business changes as a result of AI agents.
Yes. Yes. So cool. Well,
Uh,
Jay, it's
yeah,
been incredible having you on. We're up to about the time we normally run, and we're gonna have to have you back again, because I want to talk to you down the road here and learn more about what you see. Just because this stuff is changing so much, you're on the leading edge with these AI avatars, and then down the road here, not too long, the AI agents. I'm just excited to see what the future's bringing. But
I would love to.
thank you so much for being here today. We had a lot of listeners here. I just want to say thank you, Yazin. You put a comment in early, said hello, and then someone talked about the best viewers. I don't know. Thanks for putting the comment in. But man, I can see on our dashboard here we have a lot of people listening, and that is awesome. If you didn't start at the beginning, go back to the beginning and listen to Jay again. And this is live on the multiple channels. You'll be able to go back. It'll be on our website soon. It'll be out on the podcast later. But Jay, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I've just loved sharing my journey with you. Thank you, Damon.
Oh, so great. So great. Well, we're going to wrap up and we will be back again next week with another guest on the Faces of Business. Jay, hang out just for a moment and we'll wrap up.
Thank you.